Okay. Chapter 1. The holidays were on the horizon. It's a time when you get together with good friends and relatives. And it's also a time that you see relatives you haven't seen in years, but you have to get together with those relatives to realize why you don't want to see them for years. And sometimes your life just turns into a game show. Welcome to Right to Speak. I'm Benny Rizzuti.
I'm just laughing. It doesn't matter who I am. I'm just here to laugh. I am Brianna Gerbett.
Brianna Gerbett. Yeah, I know you laugh. I do. I improvise. Every show I've improvised and done the chapter 1.
Yes.
This one I made short, but part of the reason is, as you know, I enjoy comedy and I write comedy. One of my all-time favorite, one of my all-time favorite comedians I love to improv, Gracie Allen. You know, Burns and Allen, George Burns and Gracie Allen, and they had a show, Burns and Allen.
Okay.
They would end the show where they would stand on a stage and George Burns would talk to Gracie and ask about one of her relatives.
Okay.
And she would go off in this anywhere from 1 minute to 2 minute, just an improvisation about her family.
That's awesome.
And about, so her Uncle Joe who did so, and it would be, sometimes it would be hilarious. She would just find something and just go with it. And it was hilarious. And then there were times, they weren't always that funny. But so when I do this chapter 1, I always say I'd like to write it down and write one. But, sometimes it's just fun. So tonight I had an idea in my head about the holidays.
Right.
So I went for that. And I got you to laugh.
You did get me to laugh. It's very difficult to get me to laugh. I don't think anything is funny. So it's,
Seriously?
No.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. No, I think a lot of things are funny.
You laugh all the time.
I enjoy people. I enjoy talking to people most of the time. Most of the time. Sometimes you're like,
Sometimes you need your space.
No, I like my space. I'm a very solitary person. So
Me too. Like, I'm getting together. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And you're getting together with family.
Yes.
I'm getting together with family tomorrow. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And then Friday, we have a separate Thanksgiving because we go to my cousin's house. She cooks a turkey.
Okay.
Then I get a turkey from work. So then my wife does that on Friday.
Very cool.
And then we have that. And I'll probably over the weekend, I'll make a lasagna or something.
That's a lot of eating that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can come take my class then afterwards.
What class is that?
Orange Theory. It's a I should plug it right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean it's a 5-zone interval heart rate based interval training program where it's just a really good workout.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so come in. You can do whatever you want.
Now, where is this? What town?
I work in East Northport.
In East Northport.
Yes, but they're all across the island. They're the fastest growing franchise outside of McDonald's.
I was thinking of joining a gym. I want to stay in shape.
Yeah?
I used to. Yeah.
We can do like a gym sesh. We can talk about writing, and then I could do like we could talk about like training too, and it could be like a personal training session and then writing at the same time.
And then you can maybe write a book on.
No. I don't want to write about fitness. There's a lot of people that are a lot more knowledgeable than I am, and that are. Definitely.
I used to own Jim Fixx's book. I don't know if you know who Jim Fixx was a runner.
Okay.
And I used to run before I got married, and so I used to run, and so everybody said you got to buy the book on running, Jim Fixx's book on running.
Okay.
And it was a great book, and you'll see a book on running in bookstores and in the library with a sneaker on it, like just somebody from the ankle in the sneaker.
Okay.
So that was what happened was Jim Fixx went running one time in some area and he died of a heart attack.
That happens. I mean, the thing is that there's my mother works for the American Heart Association, and that heart disease is the #1 killer in America. And people think, oh, it's cancer, oh, it's this, oh, it's that, and it's not. It's heart disease, and people don't think about their hearts. And so that's something that people, and even if you're healthy, you're not thinking about that kind of stuff.
They say that if he didn't run, he would have probably died younger.
Well, the exercise prolongs your life, not only physically, but also it's like they're saying there's more and more studies that come out that say that it actually reverses the chromosomal I can't even say that word, chromosomal signs of aging.
Oh, it does,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, so you look younger. which is why I'm 18.
You look 18.
I
Yeah.
am. I'm going to college next year. I'm really excited. I early committed to I can't even think of
Studying
like the Sorbonne.
Bumblebee,
I don't know. No.
Actually, you have your degree in art.
In art
right?
history.
Art
Yes.
history, and you are one of like you could have a job as what? As an art.
As a writer.
As a writer. No, as a writer.
I can like if I were wanting to be a professor, which eventually I would love to be an art history professor, I'd have to go get my PhD, which is fine. Like I would love to have a PhD. I like going to school. I like learning and stuff, and I like writing really long dissertations that maybe one person might read. But
you enjoy doing it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I would eventually love to do that. But I could be an adjunct professor. I could do all that other stuff. But like.
But working in a museum or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest. Like I don't want. I never really wanted to work in a museum. I don't like staying in enclosed spaces for too long. It doesn't work out very well for my heart. Speaking of hearts before.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, so you brought a lot of books with you tonight.
I brought some books with me. I want to mention this now,
and
then we'll mention it again later on. We have a new sponsor that I'm very excited about, which is the Witless Protection Program. So if we could just show the picture, yeah, there it is, Witless Protection Program, and it's where gangsters, crooked feds, hillbillies, talking horses, and a crazy cat meet a Greek on the run. And it's created and produced by Greg Kritikos, and it's animated by Will Branca. And Will Branca, many of you may know from Ren and Stimpy. So he's the animator of Ren and Stimpy, and my very good friend Greg got him to animate this series. It's like a series which it says it's going to be on network television.
Oh, that's really cool. So how long has this been?
3 years.
Oh, wow.
When I first met him, I saw that. That's why he may call in one time just for a few minutes, and I want to ask him about. We're going to show at the end of the show. We'll show a teaser for this.
Okay.
I had a Witless Protection cartoon he made 3 years ago.
Okay.
That I guess was just like the outline of it, like the storyboard. It was pretty good, but so he's developed it, and this has gone on to be much different now. There was no talking horse or crazy cat in the other one.
Or maybe not even a runaway Greek.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
It's very important in any story in all of your life is to have a runaway Greek in it.
Yeah.
As long as they're not bearing gifts, and then you'll be okay. No, I went to Troy.
I went to Troy a couple of months.
Yeah, and you just go. What's that?
You know how you could tell if a Greek owns a diner?
Because do Greeks not own diners?
The only ones that a Greek owns say parking in rear.
Oh my God.
That's an old joke.
All right, that's like
it's an
really
old stock
inappropriate,
joke.
Guys. Have you met Benny? This is Benny.
Anyway, so next week, it's 1 week from today, actually, November 29th at 8 p.m., they're going to have a screening, a premiere of this from 8 to 10:30.
Oh, cool.
In Queens, and it's free, no cover charge.
Oh, well,
no
too bad we're doing the show, because I'd be like, Benny, let's go.
I know, if we weren't doing the show, I would love to go too. And the place is called Beans and Lager. It's at 33-01 36th Avenue in Astoria, Queens.
And we'll put that on when the video is up on Facebook. We'll put it in the comments section so that way people that are interested would be able to go and support our sponsor from the Witless Protection Program.
And we will put it on our Facebook page. Right to Speak.
Yes.
The Facebook page.
Yes. So it'll be everywhere.
It will be. Yeah.
So,
I'm very excited.
I know, that sounds awesome. I want to meet him.
Yeah. He may call.
Okay, cool. So you brought books. Tell me which book is the most profound? What is the most important influence in your?
Well, some of these books are reference.
Okay.
That are profound influence for me.
Okay.
This is the Writer's Hotline Handbook. So certain about italics, about using ellipsis.
Yes.
Ellipsis are the three dots, 3 periods together.
Well, I'm going to say this right now. Liz Sherwood, if you're listening, I don't read this book. Not at all. Because those things don't matter. I'm just kidding.
All right.
No. She's an English teacher.
Oh,
she got
okay.
so mad when I said that. She goes, "What the? What? That's not nice." But no, it's very important. If you're looking to write, like you should know proper punctuation, the difference between there, and there. You know,
yeah, right.
sun and sun. You know, just stuff you learn in second grade.
We're getting a phone call already? Someone's calling
It's probably my friend
us?
Liz calling and being
Oh, yeah?
like,
All right, we'll take it. We'll take the call. Hello, this is Right to Speak on Strong Island Radio and Television.com. Who are we speaking with?
Hello?
Hello,
This is Michael.
hi. Who are we speaking with?
Hi, this is Michael. I was looking for my dick to get rubbed.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm very interested, please.
Yeah,
Could you
okay.
make it hard for me?
Have a very good night. You sound like a woman. Oh, Michael, you a transgender?
You never know. She's gone. Or
Yeah,
he's
good.
gone. Who knows? You know.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
such a
so
happy-
we
not such a-
actually
You know, maybe we shouldn't take phone calls, guys.
we got a prank call. Oh my God, we got a.
No, but I love that. Remember when you used to be able to make prank calls though?
Yeah.
Like you used to call people and be like, "Hey," and like or not say anything or whatever, and you know, like you can make prank phone calls. And now there's caller ID. It's like your name shows up. Like you know, you get a message from somebody, and it's like, oh, maybe so and so was texting you, and you're like, how do you know these things? But like you used to be able to prank call people and do what Michael just did. But we didn't do anything, so.
Michael sounded like a woman.
You know, I'm not
I
one
know,
to
you-
judge, you know?
Me neither. I'm not one. I worked at Fire Island for 8 years. Give me a break.
All right, so you have
Okay.
this book. What do you have next?
This book, there's another one. It's on Writing Well by William Zinsser.
Okay.
On Writing Well. And this is now, I know a lot of people like to write creative writing, but I feel you have to have a bit of a foundation. This is an informal guide to writing nonfiction.
Okay, and
But in a way, I don't believe that because you can write fiction if you read it. Like, he'll tell you about clutter, and he'll talk about clutter and editing.
Right.
How to edit. And then he'll say, to let you know what I mean, flip the page, and you turn the page, and you'll see what he originally wrote and all the words he crossed out. And
Oh yeah, I'm
how
the
he
same way.
changed.
Like if you see, like what I do is I'll write either on paper or I'll type something up, and it'll just be like an idea somewhere, or it'll be a sentence somewhere else, and then like I develop those into paragraphs or something like that. But like my original part of it, people would read it and be like, no idea where this girl is going. I don't know what she wants to say. So it's like, like the idea of clutter. It's like you're organizing. You're organizing your thoughts into a story, into whether it's fiction or nonfiction or anything else like that. So it's good. It's good to have that.
Right.
As a writer, though, like I've read obviously Stephen King's On Writing and a lot of other authors, but I got to Henry Miller's and I'm like, I'm gonna just keep on going with this one too. But like it's important to have that, but also don't get caught up that this is the gospel.
And it doesn't. You're not going to It's not going to like reading any instructional book, which I don't really consider these, but this is a reference book.
Yeah.
And it's a tool.
Well, that's the whole
It's
thing.
like a tool. Like if you were building a cabinet or something.
Yes.
Do you use a chisel? Do you use a saw?
It depends on what kind of cabinet you're building.
Right.
Are you building an armoire?
How do you
grab? Yeah.
Do you want grooves in it? Do you grab? So how do you do that? You have to. So I use this for a reference, but I mentioned the ellipsis.
Yes.
I am, and if you read my Facebook, I misuse the ellipsis often.
Please tell us how you're supposed to use the ellipsis.
You're supposed to use an ellipsis as like an omission of a word.
Really?
So yes, it's supposed to be like an omission, but I use it as a pause.
See, I use it as an incomplete thought, or here I'm introducing an idea, but I'm not going to go so far as to say where that idea is going or what I'm going to do with it, but just just that. Not an like I don't think about it as omission. I think about either I'm just too lazy to come up with the end of the sentence, or that I'm trying to convey something that I haven't really fully allowed to evolve in my own thoughts.
Okay.
So like to omit means to say I don't know. I just think that you would think that you have it all put together.
Right.
You're gonna read the definition.
I'm looking for the ellipsis mark is formed with 3 spaced periods and indicates that something has been omitted from a quotation for its treatment. And then you could read 162, and it tells you some of the misuse, but I also use it as like a pause.
Right.
Like something I wrote on Facebook today. I wrote, there's an old saying among my people that...
Who are your people?
My people are the Sicilian people.
Okay, I just want to clarify for our viewers who his people were.
For Sicilian. So I said...
Should you say the Sicilianes?
Siciliano.
Yes.
So yeah, I know my cousins and my uncles will correct me on that.
Yes.
So anyway, there is an old saying among Sicilians, Sicilianos. It's only eat what you kill, ellipsis, except if you are a hitman. Only eat what you kill, ellipsis, except if you are a hitman.
Okay.
In other words, you're not a cannibal.
I mean, yeah.
So I'm talking about like hunting and Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That if you kill a turkey,
unless you're into that kind of stuff, like Jeffrey Dahmer was into that stuff, you know. You never know.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Sicilians. If we kill something, hunters, not everybody really, but my family, if they killed something, they ate it. And I have friends like that too.
Right.
I have friends who spend a lot of time on their own cabins hunting deer and setting that up for the year, but they eat it. They use every part of that animal.
Right.
And my family were farmers, so they would carry their guns with them.
Where were they farmers? In Sicily?
In Sicily.
Very cool.
In Sicily. And then my uncle said he would have a gun with him, so they're taking care of the fields, and a rabbit comes by. That was dinner.
That poor rabbit.
I know.
No, I mean, like, obviously you have to eat. Yeah.
It
so what else?
Some people are, yeah.
What's that?
Okay, wait. I have this Name Your Baby book.
Yes, we talked about that.
And we talked about that. Yes. So you can...
Oh, okay. So I was telling Benny that when I was in college, I used to actually have this book in my room because it was when I first started writing more seriously and stuff like that. And, like people would come to my room and be like, why do you have this book? And then like after I graduated college, it was in the backseat of like when I started writing the first book, which I'm gonna finish writing like probably within the next year or so. I have so many books that like
yeah,
I'm just like
sure, the ideas.
I'm writing this book. Yeah, no, but like this one I've been meaning to finish. But like I had it in my car.
I don't know who that is.
You're getting prank calls all
we are,
over
yeah.
the place.
Now I'm getting prank calls on my regular phone.
Yeah, see.
I don't want to pick it up. I never want to pick up the phone now.
Well, now you know.
This is Michael. Yeah.
Michael's gonna just keep on calling us. So yeah, so I had this book in my car too. It was in the back. Like I have a Jeep, so it was like the back little pocket there. And like my nephew, when he first started learning how to read, he goes, Aunt B, are you having a baby? Am I gonna have a cousin? And I'm like, no, Aunt B is you have plenty of brothers and sisters and plenty of other cousins. Aunt B is gonna be just fine. You're gonna be fine. Like I have you guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and they're beautiful little babies.
But that's why I have that book as well.
So if you're ever coming up with like a story and you want to have something relevant in terms of, who your character is or, what you want to convey with the meaning of their name, it's always useful to carry this in your back pocket or the back seat of your car. And not, I was going to say something so inappropriate.
In your pocketbook, yeah. Have it in your bag.
Yeah, but like have it, like legitimately have it in your bag to be like, have it as a reference. Like you talked about, a tool. Yes. To be like, not everybody can be named like Sam or Joe or
Justin.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Yeah.
So to be like, oh, what's a good name that I like Mary Lou. It's a combination of Mary and Louise.
Yeah, and you learn about the name itself.
Yeah, exactly. So like we talked about last week, like your name is actually Pellegrino.
Right.
But
you'll never find it in there.
No, but you named yourself Benny, and it's after Elton John's Benny and the Jets. I know what you did.
yeah, that's right. I love it. It's so funny. I have a cousin who when she was younger, she was so into Elton John that she wanted to have her name changed to Harmony.
Why?
And we would she loved the song.
Oh,
so we would all
tease
her and go, Harmony. Yeah, it's on the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. Harmony and me. I can't sing.
I think we need a keyboard in front of you. I think that we need to get maybe some really big
hair.
glasses.
I got Elton John's original hair. I needed a haircut, but I didn't get one because I was debating on I was going to shave my head as
Okay.
I did, and then I changed my mind.
I was
saw
going to
some
do that
pictures.
too.
What?
I was going to shave my head too.
You were?
Yeah, I've done that before.
You have?
Absolutely.
Cool.
It's the most freeing thing. No, I think I might grow it out a little bit. But it is probably like the most freeing feeling in the entire world. I buzzed it down to like a 2, maybe like less than that. There was like still a little bit of like, my brother called me Q-tip. My grandfather loved it. But I've done this, this is the 3rd time I've cut my hair short in my life because it's just easier. And when I went away, I just kept it short because, instead of, it would have went up every single day anyway. So I might as well just keep it short and
easier to manage.
Yeah. I was going to shave it when I went to India, and my friend's like, don't do that. She's like, they'll look at you funny. I'm like, I get looked at funny all the time.
But you're in another country.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I feel like sometimes on Long Island I'm in another country. Don't you?
Yeah, sometimes. It depends. I don't want to say any, you never know around here.
It's a different
Island's
beast.
Changed, yeah.
If you guys are viewers outside of this fabulous island that we both live on, and fabulous, I say, it has very many meanings. You can choose the definition that you want, but it's a very strange beast.
Yes.
There's a lot of things happening. We have a lot of.
But there are so many things about Long Island you don't even realize. A lot
like
of
you can
beautiful
actually
things.
leave Long Island. I don't know if people know this that live here, but there's bridges and tunnels and ferries and boats
ferries, and
you can actually leave
and
get off of the island.
Right.
It's the strangest thing.
But
I don't know if people know this.
We all seem to get drawn back.
I know.
So
I keep on coming back. And I'm like, it's very because the beach is here, my family's here.
The beaches are beautiful.
Yeah.
We have the most beautiful beaches on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that in my book, what I write about in the first few chapters is the influence that Long Island has had on my life, how we live by the water and how that water has shaped me.
So you brought your book.
I did. I brought my book. Yeah, this is the book that we've been talking about. I just published it in February of 2017. It's called Mosaic. And it is a memoir. But it's also more of my way to share with the world the idea that no matter how lonely you may feel, that we're not alone. That we're not alone in how we spend time with our family, how we experience our childhoods or high school. I saw some of my friends from high school last night, and we were just talking about it was so lovely to see them. The circumstances were very sad, but it was lovely to see them. And it's so nice that also that we won't ever have to go back to high school. So it touches upon all of those experiences that high school is not this easy thing. And we were saying how we couldn't even imagine growing up now in high school with social media, with Instagram, with all these things, with this, we were still kids. We pretended we weren't. We didn't act like kids, but we acted like children. But
But your generation was after the baby boomers.
Yes.
And before the Generation Xers.
No, we were the generation okay. So I call us the in-betweeners.
Okay.
I call us the people that grew up in between Generation X and the millennials. Because I think that Generation X, that's people, I like to think that they're the late 60s, early 70s. They're not the.
So the Generation X is before you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had Generation Y or whatever. But then we were before the millennials because we didn't I didn't have a cell phone until I was 23, so I didn't have one until last year. Oh wait, I'm sorry. So we were 18, right?
Yeah, you're 18.
So I didn't have one, and that was much to my chagrin. I didn't really want a cell phone. I had just come back from traveling around the world, and I'm like, why do I want people to talk to me? I didn't talk to people for 10 months. I talked to my mother, obviously, and I emailed people. We had email. That was something very new to us.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we were in between. So I think a lot of that was a lot of my book is coming of age. A lot of it is I was talking to my best friend today and my mother. And we were having these conversations that we all struggle in some way or another. And the thing is that I don't want to say this is a book about my struggles because my struggles have made me stronger. And what we struggle through is what makes us who we are. and that if we,
yes,
yeah, and so
we all have struggles.
Exactly.
Everybody has problems and things to hurdles.
Exactly.
Sometimes hurdles.
Obstacles, hurdles. I mean, some struggles are so daunting that you feel like you are in the bottom of a hole. But like to put it in perspective, so I think that this book was my way of putting the earlier part of my life in perspective. Going to high school, going to college, experiencing death and loss and financial woes, and what do I want to do with my life? And then, falling in love and thinking that marriage was the best idea in the entire world, which for a lot of people it is an incredible idea.
Yeah,
it's a
for
beautiful
some people
thing.
It is.
No, but it's a beautiful thing. If people can find one another and love one another and be kind to one another, that's amazing.
Well, falling in love is easy.
Yes.
Staying in love is work.
But
marriage is work. People don't realize that.
But I think that we need to really revisit what people think about what love is. I have a part in my book where my parents, when I was like 23, 24, my parents were, or I was still in college, and they were going through the things that married people go through.
Right.
And I still cry when I tell this story, but my mother got very upset with my father, and I said, Dad, why do you guys don't need to be married anymore. We're old enough. It's you guys can walk away from each other. He just stops everything. He puts down what he's doing, and he looked at me and he said, Brianna, you have no idea what love is. And I think that we don't pursue what love is. We want love to be these sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and everything, and at the end of the day, love is none of those things.
No.
Love is maybe I'm gonna pardon my French. It's an ass. It's like that mix of horses and donkeys that you don't know what to do with afterwards because you don't really know if you can do anything. So it's like
make hot dogs out of it.
No, that's terrible. You're talking about hitmen and cannibalism, and now you're talking about making hot dogs.
Out of a horse's ass.
I thought that's what head cheese was for.
Oh.
Is that what it is?
I
Head
don't
cheese,
know.
maybe liverwurst?
I know.
Disgusting.
I hate when they give a euphemistic name to some food that's the yucky part of an animal, and it's head cheese.
Head cheese sounds disgusting.
But it's not cheese, yeah. It's not cheese.
So guys, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Get yourself some head cheese. Don't talk to Benny because he's Sicilian. I don't know.
No, nothing's gonna happen. Yeah. Now your book is also. You were running a special.
Yes.
Are you still running that?
Yes, I'm running on Kindle. You can get my book for $2.99. And also with the holidays coming.
Holidays, it would make a great gift.
Yeah, anyway, like a stocking stuffer, maybe a library stuffer, the whole library, just my book. It'd be weird, but I would appreciate it.
Yeah. I may know somebody who's starting a Brianna library.
Do you really?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. When I become the president, I'm old enough now, so I can become the next president.
This version of it, because it's not a hardcover. It's a.
No, I would
You
love
don't
to
call
be.
this. So you call it. This is a trade paperback.
Yes.
This trade paperback is not that expensive either, right?
No,
it's
I
only
have
like
it.
$16.
No, I originally had it as $15.04.
Okay.
No, I'm an art historian. It's a very specific reason that it was
$15.04. $15.04.
It was
you should tell the
okay.
audience.
So I originally originally priced the book at $15.04 because I had started my own publishing company, and I am an art historian and a very big dork. And $15.04 was the year that Michelangelo displayed his David to the city of Florence.
Wow.
And Florence was a small city-state at that time, and they were in conflict with Rome and Venice and Puglia and all these other, and probably Sicily, all the other city-states, and they were warring with one another. And basically Florence, home of the Medicis, and obviously Michelangelo and Botticelli, and incredible artists, and my cousins and my aunt. They unveiled, Michelangelo created David from an imperfect block of marble and presented to the city to say, we may be small, but we are powerful. And so I had $15.04 as my price. So then I changed it to 1291 because figured if I dropped the price a little bit, it would move. And 1291 is, for all of you historians out there, the year that the Crusades ended, because we know that the Crusades the Crusades are still going on.
Right.
But technically speaking, the Crusades during the Middle Ages ended in 1291. So I'm a big fan of dates.
That's great.
So,
because I'm a fan of, I like doing things that implicate history or people's names that you don't know. When I first wrote Last of the Fang-Toothed Bastards.
Did you finish that book? I meant to ask you.
It is finished.
What are you doing with it? I have a publishing company and I'm an editor. I know where to put an ellipsis in.
It needs a rewrite. I love you. I really do.
I'm glad. I love you too.
I just want you to know I know this woman about 5 hours.
Yes, all together.
Because
and our 5-minute conversations on the phone, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10, 20. Yeah. So I'd say 5, 6 hours. Yeah. I know. I love you. So the name, my original name, I used a pseudonym. I used Eric Monroe.
Okay, why?
No, Eric Monroe. Okay, because Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
And Eric for Eric Blair, which is George Orwell's real name.
Oh, get out of here.
And I'm a big fan of George Orwell, so his real name is Eric Blair.
I'm really heartbroken. I did not know this, and I feel like George Orwell is an incredible name. And
right.
That's not his real
name. No, that's not his real name. But then I found out that there was a very well-renowned writer named Eric Monroe. So I changed it to Eric Morgan.
Okay.
And that's because one of the influences, sometimes you don't realize you might write something, and then you realize years later, I told you the story already. It's about a vampire hunter and immortal one. Anyway, there was a Richard Matheson story called I Am Legend, which they made a movie with Will Smith.
Yeah, but they made a movie before that as well,
right? They made several.
Okay.
They made one with Charlton Heston.
I think they're making another one, I Am Legend 2. I think that they're, or maybe, I don't know. I don't watch movies. I don't watch TV.
You don't watch movies either?
No, I mean, I watched The Jungle Book the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the new one.
That was good, yeah.
It was really good.
And Beauty and the Beast is good also.
That was really, really good. That's another part of my generation. We grew up with Disney movies, and that was a skewed sense of love as well. It was like, what do you mean some handsome man is not going to come and need to be rescued from the sea, and I'm going to be a mermaid that combs their hair with dinglehopper? What do you mean that's not actually real life?
I know, yeah.
And some sea witch is going to come steal my voice?
Steal your voice.
Yeah. And,
So, all right. I was talking about Eric Blair.
Okay.
And then I changed it to Morgan, and we were talking about, okay, so I realized after when I had the idea and I had the outline and I was starting the book, I came across I Am Legend, which I had read when I was in high school.
Right.
A senior in high school. So I opened it, and I was like, wow, I forgot. He is... the book itself is different from all the movie versions.
Oh, I'm sure, because he wrote it many, many years ago.
But it's about a vampire plague.
Okay.
It's about a vampire plague that takes over the entire planet.
Okay.
And he's the only one that he knows of who is human, the last human.
Here's the deal. If you're a vampire and the whole world is not, you're going to die because you're not going to be able to suck anybody's blood.
They would go, if they couldn't get him, he would have a group coming to his house every night, a congregation. And if they couldn't get him, at the end of the night, they would go on and get one of the weaker vampires, one of the weaker of the group.
Yeah, but they're still feeding off of a vampire. That doesn't sound very...
Well,
so my friend was making fun of me, so I'm sure she's watching right now, and she's like, no, don't talk about vampires, because every time I love vampires. I know. Love... Yeah.
I'll wrap it up real quick. So anyway, the best version of that book was the spaghetti westerns. This was a spaghetti horror film.
Okay.
Made in Italy, but they got Vincent Price to play the lead.
That's awesome.
And it's called The Last Man on Earth.
Okay.
So everyone else is dubbed. This is the first version of Richard Matheson's I Am Legend.
Okay.
Now the book, his name is Robert Neville. In the movie, his name is Robert Morgan.
Ah.
So Eric Morgan. So it's Eric Blair, George Orwell, and Morgan.
I like that.
Yeah, and I do that all the time. I do that with. This is the one I can think of the most, but like the way you are with dates.
Yes.
I'm like that with names. And
I
with
thought you said dates. I'm like, no, I give my actual name to dates. I just don't go out with them again. I'm just kidding. That's terrible. No, but that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
thank
awesome.
You.
Yeah, no, I was saying, I was like, when I write smut novels, I will have another. Like when I start writing smut novels, like I will
Would
have.
Would you do that? Would you actually write?
If it makes me money, like at the end of the day, I'd like to think that I wrote a damn fine book.
Yeah, I don't think you should because you know.
No, but if I have a different name and nobody knows.
Yeah, but if you become, which I really think that if you become a well-known author.
But wouldn't it be awesome to be like, look at her scope, look at the way she can write smut, but then she can write this.
I don't know. I know some authors that.
Anne Rice writes smut novels too.
She does.
In a different name.
She wrote that S&M novel that time.
No, you're talking about like 50 Shades of Grey.
No.
No, she writes a lot, but she has a different name.
Okay.
My cousin knows it. I don't.
But she wrote one that they made a comedy into with Rosie O'Donnell and Dan Aykroyd, there was Rosie O'Donnell did a movie and it's based on it's about an S&M this woman who's a dominatrix and everything. Yeah.
See, like no, but if I wrote a smut novel, like it wouldn't be crap. Like I would write a damn good smut novel. Like I wouldn't just sit there and be like, oh yeah, like blah 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 blah. Like I would have like a good storyline.
All right, there are some novels that were written that some people they're considered art now.
Yeah.
That they were considered. Some people thought maybe they were smut, like Naked Lunch.
Yeah.
Anyway, Naked Lunch can be that has like smutty sex in it.
But if you look at, I mean, like even as an art historian, you look at ancient cave paintings. You look at like you look when Manet painted Déjeuner sur l'herbe. Like there was a naked woman in the middle of the painting, and everybody, the whole French society was like, and it's just like no, it's like you have to define smut. What is one person's smut is another person's art.
All right, and my son, when he went to college, he was he had an art class, and there was his professor had them learning about the art that's made out of feces, painted feces. That's modern art, right?
Yeah, like
was
Kiki
going
Smith
on a few years ago.
Kiki Smith had done it, I think, in the late '90s, maybe early 2000s. That she had all of her bodily fluids and she lined them up and everything, and it was because it was representative of like it's hard to explain femininity and womanhood to men because it's such a all-encompassing aspect of who we are. I was talking to my friend Alex last night, and he was like, you guys are all complicated and unfathomable. I said, but we're not meant to be fathomable. Like we're still discovering ourselves, and men do this too. It's not as if like men have a lot of depth, and I don't think we give them as much credit as a lot of them deserve.
Right.
But but at the same time, it's that women, we get shut down. We get shut down in terms of our cycles and the things we experience. We're not allowed to do certain things because we're ladies. And I think that women that use those kind of things in their art are saying, no, like we're human beings, like we experience these things, and you need to accept that of us and not have this expectation of us that is up here when it should just be, we should just maybe take away some expectations.
All right, and so is this also all right? So to let you know that we're not so.
But it's also not like it's.
There are young men who think that women do not pass gas. Women.
I mean, that's so true. That's so true.
You never.
Yeah, no, never have done that before in my life. But those are the societal myths that we that those are expectations that are put up. You don't expect me to write a smut novel. I might just have to do that.
All right. Yeah.
So like you're talking about like that kind of art to someone that could like, it could be something so profoundly meaningful to them.
All right, and who was it? The Tropic of Cancer.
Yes.
Right?
Henry Miller.
Henry Miller.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Was it Henry Miller?
I'm thinking, it
I
was
hope
Henry
so.
Miller.
I hope so.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Because otherwise.
And now, there's Henry Miller and there's Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller is a playwright.
The Crucible. Yes.
The Crucible and many other.
Yes. But Henry Miller.
But Henry Miller wrote, and that was banned in many countries, Tropic of Cancer.
But you got to look at a lot of the books that are banned, and it's like, well, why is it banned? I understand Lolita, but I forget if I read it somewhere, but someone had said that Nabokov wrote Lolita as it was a conflict not between an older perverted man and a young woman, but it was a man of European descent, like actual old world descent, making peace with the new world that is America. And that you see it, and there is a perversion because there is a perversion there because we are very different than Europe. As Americans, we're culturally very, very distinct, contradistinct from you're from Sicily. How often have you been to Sicily?
I've never. I'm the only one in my family.
Well, you need to go to Sicily.
I know.
You need to go to Sicily.
We mentioned this.
Yeah. So yeah, you should go to Sicily. I've never been to Sicily, but I would like to go to Sicily too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to
You've been to Italy though, right?
Yeah. No, I love Italy. I would like to spend more time there. I was gonna live there. Yeah, a couple of months ago, I was gonna live in Italy, and I got a job. I was gonna start working and stuff like that, and then I was talking to one of my friends that lives there, and he goes, No. You realize that if you are a tour guide in Italy without the certification that you need to get actually certified. He's like, you will get charged 3,000 euros if they find you out.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, and I'm like, not gonna get charged 3,000 euros because I wasn't told this, So.
All right. Now, so you were in Italy. Now,
Yes.
here's an interesting fact about Italy. I'm bringing this up because there's been now. I think that it's right that it finally came out about men sexually sexually doing things to
the sexual allegations. They're not even allegations.
Or
these sexual
or even groping or touching a woman or anything. And I'm glad that it came out, and I hope that we become a better nation for that.
I hope we become a better world.
A better world, but. It's a known fact in Italy, there's actually a law in Italy that you are allowed to pinch a woman's behind.
Yeah, but that's.
But I mean, the woman. That's not to say because
that a woman can't punch the dude in the face and say, "Yo, bro,
yes,
not gonna work out."
But the ruling is that you're allowed to do it once. You'll get away with it once, but if you do it again. If you look that up, if you Google it, you'll see I'm not lying. You Google it, and it's.
I just think that that's over sexualizing. It's just so. We have made. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not an angel. I am not perfect or anything else like that. But we have made these allowances that are signed into law in some countries, and it's like, no. My friend was we were having this conversation before I got here. And she's like, no is a full sentence. No is a full sentence.
Yeah, that's beautiful, yes.
And yeah, Chris, you said it, so there you go. But the thing is that I think that women, we forget our power in our voices. A lot of people, it's just we're flawed creatures, all human beings. So it's what works, like we talked about before, what works for someone else doesn't work for another.
Exactly.
So to go full circle in terms of our conversation, you
have to also, respect each other. You have to have a respectability. So you have to know that you always should have boundaries.
Exactly.
So even you're talking to me about possibly writing a smut novel.
Yeah.
But if I was to say something to you that was, I could cross the line by,
Well, that's the whole thing.
By saying something pornographic.
Yes.
In a way. And not meaning it because.
But that's the whole thing. Oh, I didn't mean it. Oh, I didn't mean it. Okay, you.
That's the problem with comedians.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's then we go into the whole idea of what is politically correct or what is being respectful. And I think that what someone might find raucous and lewd is what other people would be that is hysterical. Keep going. So you have people that are oh, here's the envelope, and people are I'm fine with it being just here. But then there's some people I've known people that are I like to push the envelope. So then they just push it there. You don't notice it at first, and then they push it there. And then they push it there, and then you get to those points where, in light of what is happening with these allegations and all these sexual misconduct cases and stuff like that, they don't push the line. They just go like this.
Oh.
It's not pushing the line. You are just crossing it all the way over, and you are doing something So there's no excuses. You know when you do something wrong.
Yeah.
I know when I do something wrong. You're telling me that yes, there's other. This we're gonna go into like a whole big thing.
Right,
but generally speaking, when you are in a position of power and you do something like Charlie Rose was said to do, that, you know you're not doing something right.
Exactly.
Like Bill O'Reilly, you know you're not doing the right thing, just because you're not. I'm sorry.
And your power should not affect a person in any way like that. You should not like my power. Your power for you're well known and you get great ratings and you have all these spots. So that doesn't mean you're going to tell people, well, you have to do this for me or that for me.
But that's the whole thing. And I was having this conversation the other day on a social media platform, and we were saying that like what happens is that people, when they have these positions of power, is that they take it and they use it to their full advantage, and they also bring in other people that feel the same way, that are willing to cross that line over and over again until that line no longer exists. And the thing is that, like, you know, and I think that goes back to why we write, why we create art, why we do those things, where it's like, okay, you want to cross this line, I'm going to cross this line, I'm going to meet you in that same area, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to make you uncomfortable with it.
Right.
And I'm going to let you know, I'm going to put a mirror up to you. Like, so you write books, you
create
an art with
fiction, yeah.
You put poop on a wall, like, you are like, okay, I'm going to make you uncomfortable because you've made me uncomfortable. You've taken me to the edge. I'm going to take you to the edge.
And with writing, one of the great things about writing, you can write a story, and when somebody, you know, they read it and they say, wow, this story's good, and you turn around and say, well, did you know that story is really about this event that happened at one time?
Yeah.
Because Harlan Ellison wrote a story called Sleeping Dogs, the whimper of sleeping dogs. It was about, there was a murder many years ago in the city of Kitty Genovese.
Yeah,
and she was murdered. She was murdered inside a little courtyard in the building, and they claim that most people in the building knew of this, and nobody ever reported it. And it went on for a while.
Yeah, well, it's a collective. It's not collective unconscious. It was the collective mob mentality of.
So Harlan wrote this story, which is like a science fiction type of story about something similar, about that type of event, and he wrote it to show you because I think it was the whimper of the sleeping dogs, the whimper of the dogs were the people who didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, you see, like I always say, like when I drive anywhere and I stop at a rest stop, those are the most terrifying places in the entire world. For me.
For a woman.
No, not even as a woman. They're terrifying because you have everybody ushering into one spot, and then God forbid that something happens that they have to pull out or anything else like that. It would be a stampede-like mentality. Like you see people, like, and I like to bring up like that respect thing. Nobody holds open the door. Everybody moves out of the way. Nobody says excuse me. And it's like that is a microcosm of like the worst aspects of our world. That when the rest stops for me, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself and not speaking to anyone in the audience or whatever, but that idea that, you know, you are traveling by yourself or you're traveling with your family or whatever. So like you are for hours in a car, and then you stop, and then all of a sudden you are around all these other people. So it's like you are enclosed, and then you're surrounded, and it's like, how do you act? You know, Kitty Genovese was followed. Like she was stabbed. She was left for dead. She called out for help, and he came back to finish the job, and she was still left for dead. And I feel like maybe that goes back to what women are experiencing now. It's like that, you know, women that were raped, women that were touched inappropriately or spoken to in a very demeaning way. It's like, you know, that's the path
they
that you
tried
chose.
To reach out. They tried to call for help.
And the thing is that, you know, there is strength in numbers, and there is
which
that
is
idea.
Great now. I think what's happening now is good.
Yeah, as long as it creates a dialogue where it's not just like it needs to create this other dialogue, and we need to learn how to raise our men and our children and our girls to sit there and have women stand up for themselves and say, not that women aren't learning to stand up for themselves, and boys are not, but just to say, you know what? Do your best every day to be a good person. Do your best every day.
There was a quote in the paper today. It was like a toxic masculinity. I believe it was. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like a toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
So these men don't realize that they're.
I think that I feel like I don't know. I'm not like creating pity, but like I do feel bad for men. Like they don't know. Do they open up the doors for women? Do they not open up the doors for women? Do they show their machismo? Listen, I'm not making excuses for men by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that there are not men that are.
I'm here to defend men, so don't worry.
But I'm saying, like, I just so we know, like, I know that there are predators out there, and on both sides of the gender of gender.
Yes.
But that. We have created this idea, like you have Mad Men right there, right? Or is that the book that your friend wrote?
That's the book my friend wrote, which is Mid-Men.
But Mid-Men, okay.
About midlife
Mad Men, like
going
we've created this idea that like all men need to be rich, all men need to be able to provide a house for like what if you don't want that, you know, like and then you're less of a man because of it, or like if a woman is like, oh, you know, like it's so. I think now there's been a very big turnaround.
Right.
I think that a lot of people have said, no, this is not the way it's going to work out. But like how you were raised and how I was raised, now it's got to come together. We were divided so much, and now we've got to come together and say, hey, we're different, but we're also similar. So where do we go from here?
Exactly.
Where do we work together to be like, we can be strong in the ways that we are strong.
Gender and race,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah, and race is a whole other different
anyway,
issue.
We're getting close to the end because we end like, so we didn't really talk about our influences. We'll talk about that next week. But I wanted to talk about, I'm reading a book. And,
I thought you were going to get my book that I just slid right across the table.
I'll get it.
Guys, don't throw books unless they're absolutely terrible. This is not what I'm saying.
I'm reading a book, and I just want to tell you, I'm 50 pages into it.
Okay.
And I love this book. I do. It reminds me of Lillian Hellman wrote some memoirs.
Okay.
She wrote a memoir called Pentimento.
Okay.
You familiar with it?
No,
All right. Do you know what Pentimento is?
Yes.
It's when the painter, a painting is so old that you see where the painter originally had an idea and then painted over it.
It's like a palimpsest.
Excuse me?
A palimpsest. I'm saying it wrong. It's palimpsest. It's the same idea that you actually it's the actual yeah.
So that book was brilliant. So I thought of that book when I started reading this book. This book is an entirely different animal, but I love this book. I'm 50 pages into it. I will give a review.
Oh, get out of here!
Yes.
I was going to give you this copy.
Oh, you were? Well,
yeah, I was absolutely going to give you a copy.
Remember I told you about the library? You said the Brianna Gravatt library?
Yeah.
I bought two.
Yes! Now, guys, everyone that's watching, buy the book. Thank you, Benny.
Oh, you're welcome. I want you to sign this one because I'm giving this to my goddaughter for a Christmas gift.
How old is she?
But I want you to read. She's 30.
Okay.
I want you to they put the book up there.
Yes,
I want
thank you.
I love this book. I do. And there was a line. We don't have the time. I had gotten lines from authors that I really like, and I just try to read one because we. 3 minutes. Okay, good. So, like lines in that are famous lines. So I got Dorothy Parker, and I just want to read to you. This is some of her quotes from books she wrote. Beauty is only skin deep, but ugly goes clean to the bone.
Oh, yeah.
All right? And if you want to know what God thinks of money, just look at the people he gave it to. Okay?
Dude, that is a great line. I think that everybody...
And she also wrote, the first thing I do in the morning is brush my teeth and sharpen my tongue.
Ooh,
okay, but then this book, and I want you to know that the truth is, if I read the book and thought it was okay, if I wasn't as impressed, because you're an amazing, she's a great writer. She really is.
Thank you.
And if I didn't, I would say, read the book, it would make a good grade. I love this book, okay? There is a line that I read, it's like 30 pages into it or so, and I love this line. From the day we are given life, far from death we never stray. And I don't mean to be, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
But I'm sorry,
no,
but this book is great.
I'm glad you
I'm so,
thanks, Penny. My microphone's
all right, we're going to,
thanks,
as I hug her, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's why I don't want you to write smut, because this is going to become a classic one day. If we have time, we're going to end with the video of, it's a 1-minute video of of our sponsor.
Yes, Witless
Our
Protection
sponsor,
Program.
Witless Protection Program. Thank you for watching Right to Speak. This is the always radiant Brianna Gravatt, and I'm the
always radiant, more than radiant. He is like the sunshine. I'm the reflection. I'm the refraction.
You're the heat, baby. You brought the heat. Okay, Witless Protection Program, thank you. Thanks to StrongIsland.com, radio and television. We love you.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
The last day of November. The second to last day of November.
The
second
29th.
to last day of November.
Have a great, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, Penny.
I'm sorry to make you cry.
Greg Fettuccine, I hereby sentence you to 50 years of hard labor in a federal penitentiary.
50 years? For what? What a bunch of bullshit. Where are those rat feds that set me up? I want to talk to them now. I'm not a rat. I've never been a rat. And I'm not going to start ratting now. All right? You eat the cheese.
Wow! Wow!